Okay, we're live. I had my tweet ready. I feel so prepared. We're starting the month off right.
That really was like instantaneous. You're like, we're live and it's on Twitter. Make no mistake.
Yep. I mean, I didn't mention it at all on Instagram, but I'm like, Julia and Olivia Savannah are more active over there, so it's all good.
I did mention on Instagram.
Perfect.
And I just shared that. So yeah, we're covered.
Love it. Love it. Teamwork. Okay. YouTube has just let me know that my channel is live. Thank you. I don't know why.
I love when it does that. You're like, oh, am I really? Thanks.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why we get that notification and not like useful ones, but okay.
Go figure.
Yeah.
How has everyone's first day of April been going so far?
It's good. I feel like my birthday snuck up on me this year. So
Yeah.
it's in like just a couple of days. So I'm like, oh yeah. So that has been, this is like pre-birthday weekend, is always pretty fun too. Not that I like do anything super exciting, but I'm like, I can do what I want, which is nothing.
Yeah.
I'm more of a chill birthday person, but yeah, it's been a good Saturday so far. How about you guys?
It's been good on my end. I'm also realizing your birthday snuck up on me, so you'll get the cursory, can I have your wish list question very soon. But yeah, today I packed up all my flats, so now it's all in boxes, all ready to move on Monday.
The dedication of doing sprints right before a move, like
truly.
All the points, Olivia Savannah. Yeah. How about you, Julia?
I would not have it in me. Yeah, literally same exact thing you just said, Kara, because I don't know if you listened to all the like stream of consciousness Voxer messages I sent you yesterday.
Not yet.
But I was like saying so many things about this is what I want to finish tonight, this book, and this is what I'm doing right now. And in the middle of one of them, I go, and I just realized how close your birthday is. Like you can hear me discover in my mind. I was like, oh.
It's all good. I am late sending a present to a friend who had a March birthday. I still haven't sent it, so it's all good. My dad informed me recently. He's like, I haven't gotten you anything yet. I'm like, okay. It's fine because like my mom is usually the main, like me and my mom are the main present givers in our family, so it's all good. Hello. Yes, happy Worlds of Page. Very, very excited. I know we say this every time we do one, but I can't believe it's round 4. Like,
I know.
Oh, yes.
What do you mean? But
oh my goodness.
4 is like a lot.
Yeah. That is a statistically significant number of readathons.
Next year we'll have to be like extra special because we'll be like, it's our 5th year.
Our 5-year anniversary. We can do one of those like established like 2018 or 2019.
That's so cute.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and jump into intro stuff? It's always super casual anyway, so it's not like we need to plan for a big introductory event. But hello, everyone. Welcome to our kickoff sprints for All the Worlds of Page. That is a readathon I created, and I am so happy to be co-hosting again with my wonderful Shakespeare-loving friends, Julia from Shakespeare and Such and Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. They are both already linked in the description. I realized I didn't put our Twitter account there. I'll do that after the live, but I did put my announcement about the readathon. So it's a readathon that is, of course, all themed around Shakespeare, but you don't have to read any Shakespeare if you don't want to. It's very, very chill, very laid back. It's just like a fun way to pick prompts, and we all love Shakespeare. And we try to do a little bit of a different theme every round, and this round is sort of like a choose your own adventure, kind of like fan fiction thing. So there's a ton of prompts. Don't get stressed. Like, you don't have to do all of them. You're just kind of like matching up characters, and we explain it all in our announcements, so be sure to check those out. It is not too late to join, and we welcome doubling up on prompts and all of that. So despite the fact that we're all a little over enthusiastic about coming up with prompts, you really can make it a chill readathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and have my lovely guests introduce themselves. Olivia, Savannah, do you want to go first?
Hello, I'm Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I really love Shakespeare. I don't know what else to say here.
You do, in fact, love Shakespeare. It's
I
true.
do, in fact.
The rumors are true. Do you both already have you decided what you're reading tonight?
Yes, I have my picks ready to go, so we can do
Ooh,
that
okay.
after intros. You can go ahead and do yours with your introduction if you
I
want,
don't
Julia.
care. I'm like sinking lower and lower into this couch like it's quicksand. I'm like,
The comfy
so
couch just
hi.
like slowly absorbing you. Like,
It's like I'm in the corner, so it's already kind of dipping down, and then like the leathery material is so slippery. Periodically, you'll just see me pop up a little higher.
just throughout the live stream, you'll see Julia just like sinking into the couch.
We're gonna come back from a reading sprint, and I'm just gonna be out of sight, and you're gonna be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's gone." Yeah, I'm Julia. My channel's called Shakespeare and Such. So
Do you
I
like
also
Shakespeare, Julia?
I also love Shakespeare, believe it or not. I do have food that's getting delivered. So at some point, depending on how soon we start a sprint, you might hear a doorbell and a barking dog. So anticipate that. But yeah, I'm just so excited. Um I don't know. I'm loving this comment about the
Yes.
prompts because I took mine almost a little too seriously at first, and then I was like, okay, and then like, but the setting's not that important, and then I actually looked at the settings and I was like, but that one doesn't fit the vibe of my story, and then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like, yeah,
You're like,
so
oh, I don't care. Oh, wait, I do care. Yeah, Mythic Melancholy said, I went full chaos this round. I didn't plan my prompts. I'm fitting whatever I read into prompts as I go, and at the end of the month, we will see what atrocity I've created. I feel like Will would be very much a fan of that kind of chaos. Like
mhm.
any man who writes exit pursued by a bear with no warning, I'm like, he's not opposed to a little chaos. So
Yeah, he loves an atrocity, honestly. Oh, that'll be fun.
So do you want to talk about your reading plans?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Do you want to go first this time, Julia?
Oh, we'll go backwards. Okay, I got him right here. Hold on, I gotta reach. Okay, so I literally have like 10 pages left of A Room of One's Own, and I so fully believed that I was gonna finish it last night, and then I was like, I'm tired. So it's gonna be one of my first reads of April, so that's great. And honestly, I was gonna use this other book for my setting prompt for the castle, which is like to have a neutral cover, but I was kind of stretching it, and this cover is very neutral, so I'm just gonna count this for it even though I read most of it in March. We're no
Doesn't
rules,
matter.
we're all chaos.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then I'm going to start because I've been putting it on every month's TBR since January. All's well that ends well.
Yay!
And there's no better time to read Shakespeare than right now, as we all
That's
know.
right. That's
So
right.
that's what I've got. And then at some point, I might take a little audiobook break and work on some of my bracelets. Did I tell you guys about this, or have you seen on Instagram?
So.
I'm making bracelets for the Taylor Swift concert. And so I'm making one for my favorite song from each album because I'm trying to manifest her singing those songs.
Wow.
So, yes.
It's a lot of bracelets.
Yeah, I've only made 2.
Okay. Well, we are gonna, I mean, what usually ends up happening is that the chatty sections become crafting sprints. So,
That's so true. I can just like
like, I
move
have,
over to the table and
yes,
bracelet while we chat.
I have knitting here
Ooh.
for when we're talking. So,
I love those colors.
yeah, it's fun. I'm almost done with that one. And it's like an actually good sprint project because what always seems to happen is that like I pick something where I need to count stitches really carefully and I'm like, why did I do this? So that one's going to be a better choice. Yes, Olivia, Savannah, what are your reading plans?
So I was going to ask for advice because I packed most of my books, and I've got 2 out here for Shakespeare for the readathon, and they both have Ophelia in common. One of them's Ophelia After All, and one of them's the Ophelia Girls. So whichever one, which one should I start?
Okay, wait. I need to look up. I know I've heard of the Ophelia Girls, but I can't remember the
I need to do
synopsis.
some research here.
I
Or you
can
can
read
read
it. I can read it if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says secrets are rising to the surface. Summer 1973, Ruth and her friends spend the scorching summer months by the river near her grand family home. They're obsessed with paintings and they while away the hours reenacting tragic mythical heroines, including the drowning Ophelia. But then a real life tragedy happens and changes their world forever. And then it skips to 1997. Now a wife and a mother, Ruth returns to the family home with her husband and children and her especially troubled eldest daughter. But as the heart of the summer burns and an old friend comes to stay, long held and present day secrets threaten to burst their banks and drown them all.
Wow. Okay, well, I initially was so gonna be like Ophelia after all, and now I'm like,
But
oh,
you heard
that sounds
mother.
really good.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mythic Melancholy also votes for the Ophelia Girls. It sounds like, okay, as you were reading the synopsis, it reminded me of that part in Anne of Green Gables where like
Oh,
she's like the lady of, is it Shalott
Lady
or
of the
whatever? And I'm like,
Lake.
except
Yeah.
someone actually died. Like,
Yes. Okay. It might be the Ophelia Girls. And then if I get tired, I'm going to read fan fiction because one of my prompts is Hamlet, which is read something you're trash for. And fan fiction
right.
does fit the bill and it
And
Girl.
keeps me awake.
this is our like fan fiction themed round essentially. So
But I'll
it
start with the
works.
Ophelia Girls.
Yes, yes.
Very
Okay,
appropriate.
so my reading plans. I always like have my books stacked in the most awkward place. So I just started the third Enola Holmes book, The Case of the Bizarre Bouquets by Nancy Springer. I'm really enjoying these. They're like really quick and clever and I don't know, the mysteries are just fun. I do think this is one of those series where like if you read the book first, you'll like the book more, and if you watch the movie first, you'll like the movie more. So I had like kind of mixed feelings about the movie. Like there were things I really enjoyed about it, but it has maybe helped contribute to me actually trying to keep going with the series. Like what a concept.
But here's my question for you, Enola Holmes wise. Do you
Yes.
picture the actors or do you have your own mental image of them, like the
I
characters?
do not picture the actors. Like I think Millie Bobby Brown did a great job in that movie, but I don't think it left enough of an impression on me to like affect that. And I also, what prompt am I using this for? I haven't quite decided, but I could use it for Laertes, which is to read a book with siblings.
Ooh.
Because Enola, for people who don't know, this is like a retelling series as if Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes had a younger sister named Enola. And I think it's really fun. And then also, I'm reading a nonfiction book, The Wonders We Seek 30 Incredible Muslims Who Helped Shape the World by Sadia Faruqi and Anisa Mumtaz, illustrated by Safa Khan. I love this like genre of like beautifully illustrated nonfiction. It just makes me so happy. And I didn't really plan for this to overlap with Ramadan, but it works out well if anybody
Oh.
is celebrating Ramadan. Yeah. So those are the things going to be reading. Kelly also had that scene from Anne of Green Gables.
She gets that.
Yes. Yes. So feel free to let us know in the chat what you guys are going to be reading or working on. Oh, also, I realized I didn't plan what prompt The Wonders We Seek is going to count for. Let me just pull up my spreadsheet here. Let's see. I'm sure I have one that says like beautiful cover or something, so that'll probably be it. I have like multiple Shakespeare fan fiction stories planned out because that's the kind of person I am.
Nice. Wait, yeah, I want to hear like your overarching vision for
Okay.
your stories.
Okay.
Both of you.
So the first one I have, this is kind of one of the ones I came up with first. So my two lover characters are Cleopatra and Lady Macbeth.
Oh my god.
I know. I'm like already loving it. And the villain is Angelo because they would like absolutely rip him to shreds and I would love to see it. The supporting character, I picked Hippolyta because I love mythology books, but also I'm like, especially Cleopatra, it's like, yeah, I feel like she would respect another like famous, warrior woman. I did pick Alexandria for the setting because again, Cleopatra, I had to. And I made it a revenge play, like a revenge tragedy, because like it would have to be, you know, like Cleopatra and Lady Macbeth in the same play with Angelo. It's gonna be a revenge tragedy. Like, so that's kind of my like first story that I'm going for. Yeah. So.
Love it.
And I think Melancholy currently reading She Is a Haunting and absolutely loving it.
I'm so
Great.
excited to read that one. It's like
Yeah.
Sentient House. Anything Sentient House, I'll read it.
Kelly read the first section of The
Oh,
Wonders We Seek for Homeschool when they studied the Golden Age of Islam. The style of that book is beautiful. Yes. I like, there has to be a word for that kind of like genre of nonfiction, and I don't know what it is. Like,
but they're like everywhere nowadays, and I
I
love it.
love it. I love it. It's like I will literally never get tired of this trend of like beautifully illustrated books of people from history who like didn't get enough attention.
Oh
Like
my
give it all
God.
to me. I will read like 1,000 of them.
Hold on, I warned you.
Food time. While Julia is away, what do we think of for our first sprint length? What are people feeling? We could do maybe like half an hour about, so like going to 45. How does that sound? Like just under half an hour?
That sounds good. Like a warm up
Yes.
reading sprint. I love it. I love warming up.
Okay. How do y'all in the comments feel about that? Let us know. And also, if you want to tell us what prompts you're going for, if you know already. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I have like I think like 5 different stories at least planned out, and I'm just gonna be like reading all over the place.
Reading around them.
Yes. I think Melancholy says, "Oh, I'm always looking for books for homeschooling. I mean, my kids are still so little, it's a bit premature, but I want a big, great collection as they get older." Yes. Always a good idea to plan for an amazing library. Julia, what do you think about a half hour kind of warm up sprint? So going until 45.
That sounds good because that gives me time to both eat and read.
Yes, eating is very important. Okay, so we are gonna go until 45 and we will see you guys back then. Go ahead and mute your mics. Okay, everybody, we are back from our inaugural sprint.
Woo-hoo.
How did it go for y'all?
I'm finishing taking down a quote. Hold on.
Okay.
Went good. Clearly, I did not finish these couple pages. Now I have like 5 pages left.
Hey, I mean, it's Virginia Woolf, so like, I think that's still good progress.
This is, I must say, for me personally, a lot more easily readable than Orlando was, but still some terribly long sentences. Like
Yeah.
I'll be like 2/3 the way down the page, and I'm like, where do I stop taking down this quote because she hasn't stopped talking, and I don't know where to cut it off appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked A Room of One's Own, but I haven't read any of her fiction, and I'm nervous too.
Yeah.
I think it's a very different world, those two.
It is.
Yeah.
Like when we just read Orlando, I think one of the reasons I got on with it the best of us is that I had like rock bottom expectations. Not that I expected it to be bad, but like I had heard so many people talk about how dense and exhausting her writing was that by comparison I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is manageable. This is like written more like an 18th century or 19th century classic." But that's okay. I thought it was going to be like postmodernism or something. So I'll be interested when you do, if you do try it, Olivia Savannah.
Yeah, I see in the comments Shannon also said like I don't get on well with her fiction.
Yeah. How did the sprint go for you, Olivia Savannah?
Oh, it was good. I read the first 25 pages, and they did mention the Lady of Shalott, and they also keep referring to Hamlet in the Hills as in like a setting, but like I love the little connections that they're doing.
Yes.
Nice touches.
Very cool. I read a few chapters of each of my books. I'm really liking the Enola Holmes book. Like I know it's early, but this might be the favorite in the series so far. It's just super interesting.
What is the premise of that one? Because I read the graphic novel, which I think has like shorter, like condensed versions of the first 4 books. Or maybe it was 3.
Dr. Watson has gone missing.
Now I am downing myself. I don't know. But that is a juicy mystery to solve.
Yeah, it is. And I also uncomfortably contemporary feeling because she just made like a passing reference to like she's thinking about how to like disguise herself and she sees like a nurse, and so she's talking about like anti-vaccine mobs, and I'm like, little too topical. But yeah, the book is very good so far. I really love how like genuinely clever she is, like about like her disguises and everything. Like she's like, well, I'm not going to disguise myself as a boy because that's what like every runaway girl does ever. So I like that. Let's look at the comments. Kelly is going to ask me to pick her first book because I basically picked her whole TBR. Hello, Nana. Nana's very excited. What are you reading? Sarah says hello. Hello, Shannon. Yeah, Julia loves looking up to see 3 of her faves in the chat.
I literally sat back down with my book, saw like some, like scrolled on its own, and I was like, what's that? And I was like, oh, so many friends.
Yeah. Kelly started reading Sweetgrass on audiobook and already loving it, but I'll want to take my time with it. Yes, I definitely think it's one that benefits from not rushing through. But I loved it too. I'm glad you're already enjoying it. Oh, 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson.
Ooh.
Is that the series where like first it was a trilogy and then it was like 4 books and now it's maybe 5 books? Like I feel like nobody ever knows when that series is going to be over.
Oh, Truly Devious. Whoa, I thought it was just a trilogy and that it was done. Yeah, that's the 5th one. There's a 6th one on Goodreads.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love this question. How are you doing with the 2023 reading challenge?
Well, Naina, are you at 0 because you've been reading a lot or because you've just not been buying books? Because there is a distinction there.
Mm.
I mean, Kara and I'll speak for both of us when I say neither of us have made progress in decreasing our DVRs, but they haven't grown by a lot. It's definitely, we can easily get back into the negative the way we
That's
want
good.
to.
That's good.
I just recently watched your update with Hannah, so that's fresh in my mind.
I know ours, like you said this when we started planning the challenge, Julia, but the fact that we're doing our check-ins after our birthdays,
Dangerous.
unfortunate. Like, because we're not counting gifted books, but we know ourselves and we know there will be some treat myself book shopping. So
Big time. Yes.
Which you should do around your birthday. Absolutely deserved.
Right.
It is. It's what we deserve.
Kelly. Okay, so subversive, burning bright, or half a soul. If you want something cozy, I would say half a soul. If you want like super slow burn romance, I would say burning bright. And then subversive is like really, I feel like action heavy, like not action, but like one of the things I like about that series is that I feel like all the character and relationship stuff is like really well balanced with the plot. So I feel like subversive could be a really fast read for you, like it was for me. Also like very messy and complicated hate to love romance. So depending on your mood, let me know if that helped at all. I basically just gave you all your options back to you, but I think it does depend on your mood. Oh, Nine Liars. Screamed at the bookstore when I saw it because I didn't know it was out in paperback yet. I love getting surprised by a book release. Like, it doesn't happen as often, obviously, now because like we're online talking about books all the time, but it's an exciting feeling. Wow, Shannon's only bought one book since December.
That's really
Yes, you
impressive.
should be proud
That's
of yourself.
amazing.
Nina bought 3 and read 3. I bought a bunch and read a bunch. That's like how it's been going. I have to update my numbers actually. I feel like the numbers for March are going to continue updating into April because I'm still like calculating things, but
yeah, I have to update March a little bit too. And I don't know, I feel like you mentioned what you're doing, Kara, and then I forgot. But I feel like you said you're not tracking books as hauled until you receive them physically.
usually, yeah, that's like generally what I've been doing. There was kind of an exception because I pre-ordered some books from February that didn't get here until like the end of March or something, and for whatever reason it just felt easier to count them as February.
Yeah.
So I updated you on that, but like I adjusted my February numbers rather than adding them to March. So
Yeah, because I pre-ordered 2 things and I was like, I'm just gonna wait till they get here because otherwise I think I'm gonna forget that I already counted them and then I'll count them twice.
Yes. Something you can be submersed in and finish quickly. So subversive, yes, definitely. Then I would recommend subversive because I think it's the most fast paced of those. I also read Half a Soul really quickly, but it's more of like a cozy and quiet fast read. So yeah, I think subversive might be a good pick then.
I need to see the cover of Subversive because Kara, you have so many like really interesting, cool fantasy series that you always talk about, but in my mind they like start to all become one series because I haven't read any of them.
Yeah.
But then I go on Goodreads, I'm like, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's like yes.
It's really good. It's like the alternate history one that it feels like a historical fantasy set in the early 1900s, even though technically it's like an alternate
this
future
the
type
one?
thing.
This description is going to make no sense. Is this the one with the man who like did something bad, but you're like, no, this is actually a good reason why you did that bad thing.
Yes, it's that
Wow,
one.
I see
Yeah.
it. So make of that what you will. But I was like,
Yeah.
it is a man.
Yeah. Peter is a very interesting character. Like, I can see how people might not get on with the book because of him, but I feel like the author won me over. Because, like, he does a bad thing, but the thing he's trying to avert is, like, so much worse that I'm like, okay.
One of those
Oh, I
lessons.
can take our sprint banner down.
Oh.
There we go. We are now talking.
Yeah.
Anyone in the comments have an update?
Yes. Tell us what else you're reading.
Yes. I was telling Olivia Savannah before we started that, like, it was so fortunate that the month started on a weekend, so we can have a sprint to the very first day of the readathon. I love it.
It is very lucky.
Yes.
And I haven't seen any like April Fool's things today. I don't know if either of you guys.
I haven't seen any either.
Thankfully not.
I love it though.
Yeah, I'm not at all an April Fool's person. I had a collab video go up today that is like, the theme is "Did BookTube fool me?" And that's like the most that I ever do for that. But
I did see one tweet that was like, please no April Fool's Day jokes because like real life has become a parody of itself, and I can't
saw
stand
that
anything.
too, and I'm like,
And I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, there are enough fools around already, honestly.
Yes. I'm just Sarah says she's just listening to Julia's voice memos. They're basically an audiobook.
True.
Shannon has set TBR but hasn't started anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
Planning TBR is like half the fun.
It is.
Kelly is also trying to lower physical TBR. Did great in February and March. Didn't buy any books in March and only 3 in February. But I won 3 giveaways, which added 5 books to my TBR. That's exciting though.
So
but,
lucky.
Yeah. But I also, like, there have definitely been times with me and Julia's challenge, which, by the way, we totally stole from Hannah and Olivia Savannah. Yeah. So credit to them. Thank you again. But there have definitely been times during our challenge where I'm like, it's good for our challenge, obviously, that, like, we're not counting, like, gifts or, like, books that we pre-ordered last year and all that stuff. I'm like, because I'd be doing even worse if I had to count those.
I'm so glad we didn't count gifts. Like, Hannah was making the rules and she was like, I was like, no. She was like, we shouldn't count gifts. And I was like, are you sure about that? And she was like, I'm sure. Which goes to show that Hannah is the wiser one of our duo.
She's wise about book giveaways or gifts. Nana got an email from a store saying I won something and I didn't, and I hate that. Yeah, I don't believe you. I mean, believe you. I don't blame you is what I meant to say. I believe Selena Gomez was cast as Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, I've gotten a few, like, emails that are about, like, specials or something that are like, no joke, so they're referencing April Fools, but they're not doing it, which I appreciate.
That was what I was gonna say. Was I got a notification from like a webcomic app that I have that was the same thing. It was like, no joke, free passes on like these certain stories today, which was amazing because I finished. That's probably what Sarah's listening to. I literally recap every single episode. I'm like, oh, this just happened. You won't believe.
Julia's podcast.
Yeah. So I finished The Tainted Half, and it was a ride. And it's on Goodreads, so I counted it as a book. So I love that for me.
Yes.
Yep.
I hate that they took off the feature of, like, you can add books if you're a user. Like, I wonder if they were having people who were, like, abusing the privilege or something, but it's so irritating because, like, Goodreads librarians are so overworked. It's like, I don't think they can get to even, like, a quarter of all the requests they get. So.
Well, and I was looking up a book this morning or last night, and instead of finding the actual book I was looking for, I found like 500 journals, like notebooks. And I was like, who's adding notebooks onto Goodreads? there's not much you can read in there.
Yeah. Also, everyone's is gonna be different, so like I don't see how reviewing it would do anything. It's like 10 out of 10. I'm amazing. Like
Yeah.
Kelly is counting gifts or giveaways because her main reason to lower TBR is space on shelves.
Yeah.
So any books coming in, I need to find space for. Honestly, like I am concerned about space. That is one of the reasons, but that doesn't mean I'm going to count books that I don't need to. Like, but it does make me feel good when it's like I look at my like wrap up books I have to talk about, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll be getting rid of like 5 of these, you know. So
Yeah. Well, I think to be fair, in terms of our like giveaways and gifts, we're counting them positively, or rather
yes,
negatively.
yes.
So like we didn't purposefully try to obtain this book, so it's not counting against us in that
Right.
way. But once it is on our physical TBR, we're being like, oh, I read it. Okay, bye. One less
Yeah.
book.
Yes.
So it works out.
Which I think is nice. Yeah, it's nice to have that little like extra boost, you know, for gifted books like that.
Did you mention as well, Julia, what prompts you went for? Did you build your play, or are you going with the flow?
I asked you guys and then I didn't even tell you. Oh, because that's when the doorbell rang. So I was distracted by food. Okay, wait, let me pull up my spreadsheet. So I wanted to go with like a rom-com. I just wanted like a fun, silly time. Okay, where are you? Okay. So my story, or play, I guess I should say, stars Helena because she's my favorite. And also Hero. So they're like the dynamic duo of this story. And because we know Helena has really bad taste in men, what happens is she gets in her mind that she is in love with Tybalt. And she's like, Hero, I need your help. We're going to win this weird guy over. And so Hero's like the ride or die friend along for it. It's set in a castle just because I wanted it to be set in a castle.
Yes.
But then, you know, like shenanigans will happen. So either like the girls will end up together, or I might just like throw in another character and be like, actually, this is the real love interest all along.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's the plot.
Very cool.
I love it.
I like the internal consistency with like the other plays. It's like,
yeah. I couldn't decide who I wanted as a villain, but then I was like, well, Tybalt's probably like the hottest villain on this list, so we'll just slide him in there.
That would be a fun like bonus activity on a sprint, is like tier ranking how hot the Shakespeare villains are.
Honestly, that's okay, but that was the thing too. I was like, I needed to be a hot villain, but not one who would like actually pose a physical threat to my main characters.
Yes.
I was like, I can't just put like, you know, Tamora in here because she's gonna kill people.
We're not out
hot,
here,
but at what cost?
We're not out here romanticizing abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's giving me 10 Things I Hate About You vibes, and I love that.
So that's my story. And then I feel like Hippolyta is going to end up in there too, because when you mentioned her, Kara, I was like, oh, I actually have a galley for a book that is like a mythology retelling. So that just works out.
Yep. I still need to do my TBR where I'm actually going to like talk about, I think, all of the different stories I have planned, because I think that would be fun. But as a sneak peek, one of the other ones I'm really excited about is like a lot of mine involve like cross play ships, because I just think that's so fun. But this one is not cross play. It's in the same play, because I love Mercutio as a character, and I was like, who would I want to like end up with Mercutio? And then I was like, oh my god, like he's so messy, like he would totally do this. So I said Juliet. So that one's gonna be fun.
I love that though.
Right?
That's exactly my type of dramatic plot twist there.
Yeah. Like I just think that would be so fun. Like I would read that retelling, honestly. I think that would be super interesting.
Can we please read Shannon's, because I'm obsessed with this?
Mine is a Bianca and Ophelia love unrest road trip romance where they bond over their traumas from their previous male relationships. Yes. Have you heard of Enter the Body by Joy McCullough?
I was gonna say.
I'll put the name
Not
in the
sponsored, but
chat.
we wish.
Yes, exactly, because we're actually all doing that as a buddy read with
Oh my
Mary
god.
Margaret as well. It's gonna be
Yeah, I
so
need to
great.
buy that. So, oops.
Kelly picked prompts based on the books on her TBR and sees what happens. Protagonists are Rosaline and Titania. Antagonists are Angelo and Oberon. Oberon is one of my antagonists too. I hate that man.
Yes.
Supporting characters are Hippolyta and Laertes. I love that.
What a cast.
I'm like so excited to see everyone's stories they're coming up with. This makes me so
Yeah.
happy. Sarah gonna retell Midsummer, but the love square is Hermia Helena and Lysander Demetrius instead.
As it should
Yes.
be. And Sarah, please watch the National Theater production if you haven't already. I've been telling you.
Kelly's is also set in a castle. It's in Alexandria. Genre is romance and revenge. That's
Ooh,
so fun.
I love.
I love that this theme is like also fun for us to just like see other people participating in it. It's like, yes, tell me your Shakespeare fan fiction, please.
It works out great for us.
It really does. What are we thinking for our next sprint? Do we want to do 45 again? So like a 40-minute sprint this time? Working our way up? What are people's thoughts?
Trying to see how long this first scene is. Oh, not very long. Oh, I have a very annotated copy of All's Well That Ends Well. Okay, surprise. I didn't know that. Not my annotations.
Well, that's a fun twist.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, it seems like someone who cared and maybe knew what they were talking about. Oh, but I like this one that just says, "Oh, very, very awkward."
That's fun. Okay, so how does a 40-ish minute sprint sound, everyone?
Sounds great.
Works for me.
So you're going to sprint until 45 again. Get your books ready or whatever you'll be working on.
Before we go, let me just tell Sarah, because I see her comment. Sarah, I don't care if you don't read a single thing for this readathon. Your assignment is to watch the National Theater production of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
You have a personalized selection.
I'm pounding her.
Okay. See you guys at 45. Okay, my dears. Welcome back.
I've changed location.
Love it. Keeping us on our toes.
Yeah. I had to get up anyways to give Chester his dinner. And then I was like, well, I'm going to be
Aw.
annotating. And if I want to work on my bracelet, it's better to have like a flat surface. So
Yes.
here we
Chester.
are in the kitchen.
How is everyone's reading going?
No complaints. I finished, what's it called? A Room of
A
One's
room of
Own.
one's own. Yeah.
Gave it 4 stars. I did really like it overall. It was interesting because there were a few points that she like really goes on for a while. Sorry, I'm like looking at the fan behind my head. It's like a fun whiskers. Um, and where she like talks about it for so long. And I'm like, Virginia, I can't get behind you on this point. Like, I don't fully agree, but
Yeah.
go off, sis.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, like the writing was beautiful, and there
Yeah.
were some quotes where I was like, 100%, yes, love this.
Yeah.
And so I'm
I
like,
actually, okay, somebody told us during one of our past, well, it would have been for Orlando.
yeah,
Um, they mentioned A Room of One's Own, and then a Black feminist writer who wrote like a response to that, something about like Our Mother's Gardens or something. And I have thought about picking those two to like read for past it classics and to like, talk about them being in conversation with each other. So
Mm.
it's good to know that you overall enjoyed that one.
oh,
Um,
Alice Walker.
is it Alice Walker? I
Yeah.
wondered if that's who it was. Yeah. So I feel like that would be so cool because I guess Alice Walker's book really like and addresses the fact that a lot of what Virginia Woolf says is like assuming that women have the privilege to be able to have a room of one's own, like
Mm.
so anyway, just seemed very interesting.
It's a very, I think it's a very good essay and it's ahead of its time in some ways, but then in some ways it's also of its time still.
Yes,
Exactly.
that makes sense. How is your reading going, Olivia Savannah?
It's good. I did another 25 pages, and the writing in this and the way it sets the scene is just really beautiful. So I'm liking that. And I also played 2 games of Sudoku because I'm a bit I'm a bit in my addicted phase right now. I guess whenever there's a lot of change, like I go to certain things and I do them a lot. So it's been reading lately and Sudoku.
I love a good Sudoku. I read about, I think like 35 pages because this is super quick. I also, so one of the things that I consistently like, even though like the mystery resolution for the last book wasn't my favorite, but I just love the writing and some of the ideas. Like, natural beauty is all a matter of illusion, you see, an arrangement of proportions to foster a conspiracy of admiration amongst the senses of the beholder. Like conspiracy of admiration. I love that so much because she's
That's a
talking about
good
how like
phrase.
yeah, she's talking Enola's talking about how like her current disguise is going to be a really beautiful young woman because like up until now she's like very plain and up until now her disguises have been like an older widow and like a nurse, like a really stern, nurse and things like that. And so her brothers are expecting her to do that. Because she's trying not to get found by them. And she's like, well, the thing they won't expect ever from me is to be beautiful,
You know
which
what?
I love.
One was in the graphic novel because I remember that logic on her part being like, they won't expect me to be feminine and pretty.
It's just so smart because, like, yeah, that's true. Okay. Comments. Shannon has heard of Enter the Body. When I go on my trip next weekend, that is going to be top of your to buy list. Love it. Hello, Ro. What are you reading or working on if you're hanging out here? Data says, my book is about theater. Can you guess what page Mr. Shakespeare gets name dropped? I'm going to guess like 3 or 2.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.
I was going to give a respectable 10.
And also on Killer Sudoku, I probably couldn't do it. I'm terrible at maths. I can find patterns, which is what I like about Sudoku. And
Yeah.
arguably maths in some ways is about finding patterns. Like I was good at statistics and stuff that actual mathematicians really hate, but I can't do the rest of the maths.
Yeah. I have not tried that version. It is 3.
Wow.
I love it. They're like, we want to give the people what they came for immediately.
I was gonna say, me as an author be like, by the way, did you know Shakespeare?
Yeah, exactly. I like would not hold back. Also, because I basically always have a Goodreads tab open, while I was like, liking Julia's review, I happened to see that Sarah not only added Enter the Body to her TBR, which love that, but
Yep.
also Subversive. And Sarah, if you're
Nice.
still here, I have to know which part of the description made you go like, oh yeah, I want to try that. Because I'm nosy. I want to know. If you don't mind sharing with
I
the
love
class.
it. Sharing with the class.
How is everybody else's reading or whatever going? How is that last sprint for everyone? How is your day going? Anything.
Do tell.
I was going to
Yes.
say, do we want to run through some possible ideas of what we could watch for the watch along?
Yes.
We definitely could.
Oh, Sarah answered.
Enemies to lovers fast paced, LOL. It is that. It is like actual enemies to lovers, not just like, oh, we're rivals or we dislike each other because of this one thing, which I also think can be done well. But I'm just letting you know, it's like pretty much like they have the same ideals, but they don't know it. So they like genuinely hate each other, especially on one side. So
Mm-hmm. I'm also looking up Jigsaw Sudoku because it sounds good.
Ooh, what would that even be?
I'm guessing it's like the 9 boxes are not in squares?
I think
Or is it something else?
that would make sense. I also have not played
I've
that
not
one.
heard of it.
I don't know how I would get on with some of the variations because I think what I find satisfying about Sudoku is like the patterns, like so I get that it would make it more challenging to change that, but I don't feel like I would get the same enjoyment or satisfaction. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we? Oh my gosh, there's like so many options for potential watch-alongs that it's like overwhelming to me.
I am really glad people seem to enjoy the watch along so much because, like, I am not a watch along person at all. Like, if it were me deciding, I would not do them because I don't understand the appeal. But I love that people like it. So thank you for keeping us on it. I guess maybe it's kind of like group books because I'm like, don't tell me what to watch.
Yeah.
I also just don't watch a lot of movies, so that is also part of it. But
I was going to say, I'm like you in that I don't watch that many things, but I need to watch them with someone else to get me to watch them. So then I think watch-alongs would work for me in that respect.
That makes sense.
Nina said, you're right. The Jigsaw ones are not in squares. Sarah said, every time I read Enemies to Lovers, they're always like, person A has been in love with person B for X amount of time, but I need them to actually loathe each other. Exactly. Okay, that's the thing. Like, the reason I like Enemies to Lovers, which has to be slow burn or it's not good. I will die on this hill.
For sure.
Yeah. Like the reason I like it is like the change, like the development and making that believable and getting all that great like character work. So like why no. If I wanted an unrequited love story, I would read that.
Yes.
Give me what I asked for. So anyway, I think you might like Subversive then, Sarah. That makes me happy.
It's the same, well, totally different trope, but like same issue where the app that like the storytelling choices that I love choices. They have a new one that's like friends to lovers. It's a marriage pact. And so, they like made the pact in college. They're like, if we both turn 30, then, we'll marry each other, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh, I'm so hyped for this. It's going to be like that slow burn. Will they, won't they? Like, so good. And then immediately the story starts and their other friend is like, girl, you've been in love with Blake since college. And I'm like, no.
No.
Which also, how stressful to be in love with your best friend for 10 years and not do anything about it.
Yeah. Like I hate confrontation, even when it's like, good confrontation, like good feelings, like, but even I would be like, this is just too unhealthy for both of us. Like,
Yes.
no.
That's a level
Sarah,
of stress.
I am also a slow burn girly, to the point where until I joined BookTube, I literally, like, I'm not exaggerating to say that I did not even realize that slow burn is like a trope that some people like and some people don't. I'm like, that's just good writing, right? Like, it has to be slow burn, or why do I care? Like, I want, like, even the slow burn that like people complain about being too slow, I'm like, yes, I love it. Give it to me. I want to be mad at the book about like how slow it is. I want to be mad because it's book 3 in the series and there's barely been like anything.
Out of Green Gables.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes. See, that is an example of like a one-sided romance for ages that is actually really satisfying. It's so good.
I love a good slow burn, but I'm a friends to lovers slow burn, so I'm like, again, the opposite of you.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you, Olivia Savannah. Love a good
I have been finding more friends to lovers that I enjoy. It's still not like a go-to trope for me, but there's a lot more that I like than I used to find, which is great. So I can get on board now. I can get on board. Another, I guess like so many of just like trope preferences for romance come down to like, give me what you promised me, which I feel like makes sense. But like, one of the reasons I don't like love triangles a lot of the time is I feel like there are a lot of authors who will resolve them by like killing one of the characters or just like removing them from the story so definitively that I'm like, this is not even a choice anymore. Like, make the main character make a decision, you coward. Like,
yes.
It really pisses me off. It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want me to buy into this love triangle as like a primary conflict for the story, like, you have to do it. Follow through.
There is a YA trilogy that I will not name for spoilers' sake, but it is not good, but it lives in my mind rent free. I like truly, I think I was at the dentist yesterday and it popped into my head. I was like, why am I thinking? I read this years ago. Why am I thinking about this? But the ending, I'll never get over. It's so wild. And don't get me wrong, I hated the ending, but I can't get over it because it was so just completely like unfathomable to me, where like the love triangle had a human love interest and a non-human mystical like kind of fae type.
Okay, wait. If Olivia Savannah is okay with it, Julia, send it in the private chat, because I might this fits with the description of one that I will like die mad about.
Is it a retelling of a story?
Yes. Is it like tangentially Shakespeare?
No.
Oh, then it's not the one I'm thinking of. I still
kind of
want to know.
I'm curious what one you're thinking of.
Yeah,
now I want to know what you guys are talking about. Just because I want to read it.
I'll tell you guys after.
Private chat, yeah.
But she literally, it like, came down to the wire, right? It's like, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna pick? And she literally spent her entire mortal life with the human man, and then before she could die, just went back to the fantasy world and was like, and now we're together. And I was like, that is ice cold. You made this dude wait like 80 years and while you were married to someone else. Like, that's so
she's like, I want both of my options. Like, not even I want to keep my options open. I choose both of them. Like, that is such BS. Julia, I will be very excited for your thoughts on my reading vlog that just went up. If you watch the spoiler part, because I don't know if you've read the books that I'm talking about. I know you read the
Amazing.
first one because we discussed it, but
Ooh,
yeah, let me know.
I'm just
Sarah
gonna.
says, yes, thank you. I'm on season 2 of a show and a couple gets together. I'm like, no, drag these to season 5, please. Exactly. I want to be mad. Like, which obviously means I'm not actually mad about it. But have you watched Leverage, Sarah? There are many things that are wonderful about it, and one of those things is that. Um, I like Friends to Lovers too if
Yeah.
I see the beginning of the
Yes.
friendship, like Perciveth. Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's a good point. I think a lot of the ones that I end up liking are ones where even though it's Friends to Lovers, we still see the beginning and the development of the
Mhm.
relationship.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Also, this is a massive rewind, but Julia, I was so addicted to the game choices for so long. I had to
Yes.
stop playing it because I was too addicted. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
addicted to Sims, so let me wean off Sims with choices, which was not like
It
No,
not
was
that's
just
smart.
a
the same
second addiction.
sentiment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what were your stories that you did? I have to know.
Oh, it's been a while since I played now. I
Or
feel
just
like
give me like the gist and I'll know.
I did the one I remember the most was kind of like on a ship and she ended up choosing like which guy she spent the most time with, and I think I made her end up with the bartender who was like not really supposed to be the main
Rules
one.
of engagement. And I also went with the bartender.
That was like the one I remember the most is like this is my key choices storyline.
It was
I love the unexpected love interest trope in
yes.
anything. Basically anything. Like I love it in books. I love it.
Mhm.
I think it's a little harder to do well in TV shows and movies, but I love it when it is. I love it in games. Like I also was addicted to choices for a while, courtesy of Julia, but it wasn't working really well with my phone.
Mm.
Um so I had to stop, which maybe is good because otherwise I would not be doing much reading. Sarah, I have not watched it, but let me add it to the list. Yes, like it is so good. Ooh, also, I'm realizing a lot of my like go-to shows that I love and that I consistently recommend. If you are at all open to like an investigation type show, I would really recommend Psych. That also has an amazing slow burn. It also like there are parts of it this is like because weirdly, like we were saying about Virginia Woolf, there are parts of it that are like a really ahead of its time. Like for the time, it's not like a super old show or anything, but like early 2000s. And for the time when the show came out, the fact that like the other main character was Dule Hill, so like was played by a black actor, and also the way they characterized him, like the like he was the one who had his life together and has like a stable job and all of it, and like
Mhm.
the disaster was the primary main character, James Rodriguez, who is white and just like absolute disaster for most of it.
I feel like
Psych is
the
so
early
good.
early
Yes,
2000s
I
media
love
is
it.
like the Wild West. Like you're gonna come across things like Sarah just watched The Devil Wears Prada last night, and I was
Yeah,
like, that movie, hooey, like,
Like,
oh,
yeah,
what a film. I
yeah.
was
yeah.
rewatching it on Twitter because someone was like, the scene where she laughs at both belts looking the same. And someone was like, this is like defining what fashion really means. And I was rewatching it like, yes,
It is good.
yes.
Like I also saw it talked about again on Twitter recently because I guess was it Anne Hathaway herself who like in an interview was like defending the boyfriend character, which like I
Okay.
get that like as the actor dating their character, you know, like you're
Yeah.
playing the person who's dating them. I see why that would be like something you might do, but
Mhm.
I cannot agree, Miss Hathaway. Like no, that Anne was insecure because you were successful and good at your job and he got his feelings hurt. Like I mean the thing about like one of them, like the fact that it was like his birthday, I'm like, okay, that is like actually, yes, your work is interfering with you being with the people you care about, but like him just being upset because she is like good at things and can't drop everything every single time he wants her to, like no, kindly screw you. Like
Yeah.
um
And I
You
had it
like
too.
bells
I'm like,
now.
to be mad that she got like a makeover, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm your girlfriend and I'm hotter now. Like, why are you complaining about that? I don't. Okay.
Truly, truly baffling. Okay, should we do another sprint? I'm trying to like actually do more sprints because otherwise I just love talking and hanging out with you guys, and then it's like 3 hours and I've read like 2 chapters.
Yeah, I put 7 of the same colored bead on a bracelet and just keep taking things off because I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, there's like a decision-making process.
Yeah.
What do we think for this next sprint? What do you guys want to do? Do you want to do a longer one, a shorter one? We can do whatever.
Well, I'm the one who's got time ahead of her. Olivia, Savannah, how are you feeling?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is going to be my last sprint.
Sounds good.
It's also going to be my fan fiction sprint, so I don't mind if it's longer.
Sounds good. Do we want to do like a whole like 55 minutes, like to the top of the hour? Do we want to do that marathon sprint, or we could do like 40 again, so we'd be at 45. I am fine with whatever.
Do we want to go to 50 and then I can have like 10 minutes chill time before I hop off?
Yes. 50?
Yeah. Does that sound good to everyone else?
Yeah. So we'll go to 50, which would be about 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Gorgeous.
Sprint. Alrighty, we will see you guys then.
See you then.
Okay, friends. Welcome back.
I know it's to not scare us, but I love your soothing welcome back every time. It's so nice.
I'm glad.
Little
Like
reading sprint
ASMR.
Yeah. Hello everyone, we're back from our sprint.
Right. How did it go for everyone? I went and gotten food, so that was like the majority of what I did, but I read a couple pages too.
Love food. I
Yes.
support that fully. I've made it into Act 2, which is great.
Nice.
I'm enjoying this. This is my first time reading All's Well That Ends Well, so I was very unfamiliar with it, but I'm like doing the thing that happens to me every time I read a Shakespeare play for the first time, where I go into it going like, okay, I'm going to figure out like some different themes and things that I want to tab and keep track of. And inevitably, I get like 50 pages in, find something where I'm like, oh, he's mentioned that like 4 times. I really want to go back and find those other ones. So then I have to stop, go back. So that slows me down a little bit. But it's good. I like it so far.
Good. I don't think I've read that one before. We might have done stuff with some scenes from it, but I don't think I've actually read that one.
I mean, I think the premise is so like different from a
Yeah.
lot of his other plays. So
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Olivia Savannah, how did it go?
Oh, I've been having a great time. I read a third of this fanfic, but I skipped through because this is a millionth reread. I skipped through the parts about the ship that I don't love as much, and I'm just reading my favorite ship parts.
Only the highlights.
Yeah.
We did also get a question about a sprint schedule because they mentioned that we'll be doing more throughout the month. So I am planning to like do a schedule and commit to a few specific days, but I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to commit to that right now. So I will be posting a sprint schedule at some point, but also I think it's fine if we do a couple of like pop-up sprints throughout the month as well.
Yeah.
I might do some last 2 weeks of April, but as of Monday, I don't have Wi-Fi until the 14th.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. So.
And mine's like the opposite. I'll probably be able to do like a couple like next weekend or the middle weekend of April, and then by the end of the month, I'm like, ooh, busy.
Yes. So keep an eye on our Twitter account and other social media for that, but that will be coming. Yeah, anything else? Be sure to check out my lovely, brilliant, talented friends, Olivia Savannah and Julia. They are both linked below. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or?
We don't have to decide it now, but just we need to keep on our radar that we have to figure out what our watch along is going to be.
That is true.
Because we've done one retelling, well, no, 2 retellings, but one like more fun and silly and one more serious in tone. So I don't know. I feel like we could go in any direction.
That's right. The sky's the limit.
But yeah, we'll figure that out.
Alrighty. Well, thank you both for kicking off the readathon. I always think it's nice to start with like all the hosts if we can all make it, like so I'm glad it worked out. And thank you everyone who was in the comments, and thank you to all of you who watch this back later. I know we get some people who do that, so that's always great. And yes, much more All the Worlds a Page content to come. Lots of sprints. We're gonna have a watch along. Many things will be happening. we like to give you guys a little taste of what's coming and then just surprise you with the rest of it. So. All right, I will see everyone later. Thanks for being here.
Bye.